Beauty, well, I'm sure we all know it comes in all shapes and sizes and colors and sexes. That's the easy part. Imperfections can be beautiful. I think if we try beauty, comes from inside out. And I think a smile can be beautiful, warmth, compassion, being kind to people. To me, beauty is more encompassing. It's a holistic energy of an individual.
Welcome to the Beauty Talk podcast, where we feature how the best medical practitioners help their patients to look better, younger, and healthier. Now, enjoy the show, and here's your host.
Daniel Gao here. I'm the host of Beauty Talk, where we feature the top medical practitioners in health and beauty, both inside and out. I have Linda Tagliamonte, an internationally trained licensed medical esthetician with advanced training through the London Medical School of Aesthetics, who turned her own years-long battle with severe cystic acne and scarring into a mission to help others get real, confidence-changing results. After nearly 2 decades in the corporate world, including 16 years as an editor at TV Guide magazine, she retrained in medical aesthetics, spent 15 years alongside plastic surgeons and dermatologists, and went on to build the Skin Rejuvenator skincare studio with 2 locations. Known for her deep research and acne scar expertise, earning the nickname the Fraxel Guru, she also became an early pioneer in medical microneedling on the East Coast and was featured on CBS News. And beyond the treatment room, she's working with Jessica Ramos on legislation to better protect kids from potentially harmful skincare ingredients, while also expanding her work as a certified peptide integration specialist and beauty peptide coach, creating peptide-based products and education. So Linda, welcome and glad to have you here.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so let's start at the very top. How did you first get interested in the medical field?
Well, when I was 11, I developed cystic acne, and my mother, of course, would take me to dermatologists, and they would put me on tetracycline, different medicines that really didn't do what I needed to do. So I began my research actually in junior high school before we had any of this stuff in the 70s. I was reading every magazine. I would look up acne, how to fix acne, how to cover acne. It was really painstaking. I was picked on a daily basis, and I was obsessed with trying to cover my skin, trying to fix my skin. So I've always been really interested in trying to fix my skin. And that's made me become interested in health in general and taking care of myself, eating well, and educating others. And here I am today.
Wow, that's amazing. I always find it interesting, like the ones that got into this field because they suffered from something when they were younger, and then they just
Yes.
led them into this field.
Yes.
So now I'm curious, what led you to start your own practice?
Well, I loved working alongside of really amazing plastic surgeons and dermatologists, but time was limited. I'd have a knock on the door, Linda, your next patient is here. And I thought, I don't have enough time with each person. And being in big practices, the overhead was really costly. So I kept thinking, how can I help each patient, especially the acne and acne scar patients? That is the most near and dear to my heart, will always be. And save them money because treatments are extraordinarily expensive in plastic surgery offices and dermatologists' offices, and take all the time I need. And I thought I really need to have my own practice and do it my way.
Okay. So now that you have your own practice, I want to dive a little bit deeper into some of your treatments that you provide. And I want to talk first about plasma fibroblast. So,
Love that.
yeah. So, for people who have no idea what this is, could you explain what is it and how does it help?
Absolutely. So plasma fibroblast, I use a little pen-like device, and there's a tiny acupuncture-sized needle, disposable needle, on the end of this pen-like device. And I program it how high I want the pen to go heat-wise. And what happens when I almost touch the skin, you never even touch the skin. I don't even have to touch the skin with this little acupuncture-sized needle. it takes a solid, which is the skin, and immediately vaporizes that. And that little arc going from the pen to the skin is called plasma, and it vaporizes it instantaneously. It's the most fascinating treatment. I use it. I did a treatment today. I use it almost on a daily basis. It can also get rid of sebaceous hyperplasia, little oil deposits, or whiteheads, little melia. It's great at little tiny pinpoint accuracy precision treatments to get rid of things.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's
And can it
great.
be, and you said kind of like pinpoint accuracy. Is it kind of meant more for like if you have like some like a blemish here, or if you have like full face, can it still be?
Well, that's a very good question, Daniel, because I use it for both. So I use it for, I do a lot of eye lifts with it, eye tightening the under eye and above the eye. It's very, very safe, actually. And I leave a little space in between where I'm almost tapping the skin to create that arc, like pinpoint precision accuracy. And what happens is the healthy tissue around where I perform the procedure tightens immediately. And then over the next several days to a week, the little scabs that are created from the plasma fibroblast treatment, they slough off. And over 2 to 3 months, the skin gets tighter and tighter as collagen is produced. That's one way I treat skin. I can also treat the acne. If there's little acne that's not going away, say that it's a cystic type little acne treatments going on your face. I can do all around the face and treat. Another huge procedure that I do a lot is treating acne scars. So the rolling scars on the skin, I will do the treatment in between the scars. And what happens is it smooths out the skin as collagen is being produced to tighten the skin and flatten the scars. So it's pretty remarkable treatment.
Mhm. Yeah, it sounds like it. I mean, you can do a lot of different things, like skin tightening. You can remove the scar, I guess, blend in the scar so you don't
Blend in
see
the
it
scar.
more.
That's right. Refines them. It's really it doesn't get enough attention,
Mhm.
and it's been around. I brought it around end of 2018,
Okay.
and I use it every once in a while. I think, oh, you know what? I'll be in the middle of a different treatment, and
Mhm.
I'll say, do you mind if we do a little bit of, plasma fibroblast? And I can just zap it right away. And people who have been dealing with, today I had one of my patients had sebaceous hyperplasia. It's just the oil that gets trapped under the skin. But we can't just extract these things and have them go away. I need to actually either cauterize it with a cauterizer, or I can use this little plasma and with pinpoint accuracy, take it down immediately. Something sometimes people have had on their face for years and they just didn't even know that it was possible to get rid of them. I can just instantaneously take these things away. It's
Oh
super
wow.
cool.
Yeah. Okay. Does it hurt? If you get this question.
Well, I'm going to say yes, little zapping, but when I do a big procedure like the eyes that I was talking about, I do a lot of upper lip for the little lines there. I put numbing cream on, numbing cream, BLT cream for about a half an hour, and then they don't feel it at all.
Hmm.
So
Wow.
yeah, it's very tolerable.
Okay. And when it comes to, I'm sure this depends on exactly what they're looking for, but when it comes to number of treatments and time in between, what can someone reasonably expect? How many treatments they need, and then how much time in between?
So generally speaking, most of my people, one treatment. One treatment will do it. Now, sometimes with the scarring, I will say because we want collagen to produce. So this can, I always say collagen production, a good 3 months at very least, 3 to 4 months. So I always say, let's give it 3 to 6 months and see where the skin is after it totally heals. And then we can go back again and do the procedure. But I want to give the skin, the body a chance to fully heal first. Get
Okay.
a true picture.
So it's basically just one session, and then you wait 3 to 6 months to see how it goes, or are you doing multiple sessions
Yes.
in that 3 to 6 months?
No, one
Wow.
session. One
Okay.
session.
Impressive.
Yeah. Pretty powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, because most of the treatments I've heard of, you need several sessions and then like
That's
four
right.
to 8 weeks apart and all that kind of stuff. So,
That's exactly right. This is a little bit different. Yes.
no, okay, good to
But
know.
it's all non-invasive. It's all from the outside, which
Mhm.
is really interesting. And I'm not even actually touching the skin. So
Mm,
it's really interesting.
okay, good to know. Okay, so then I want to switch over to a different topic, peptides. Peptides seem to be a topic that is kind of on a lot of people's lips these days.
Trending.
Yeah, there's a lot kind of going on with it. But let's start off with what is a peptide? I think people hear
So
it's like, oh, this is great, but like, what is it?
peptide, right. So what peptides are, this is the explanation. They're a short chain of amino acids that our body naturally produces. And they send signals back and forth to each other. When we're young, we have all of the health going, everything is at full force. But as we age, things slow down. Like for anti-aging, we start to get lines and wrinkles and discoloration. And I mean, the peptide, you can find a peptide for almost anything that ails you. A lot of them are injected. I do not do the injectable peptides. I'm more a superficial beauty peptide, but peptides every day people come in here and ask me about peptides. And I explain to them, you can go down all of these rabbit holes, peptides for healing the inside, the gut lining. If you have shoulder pain, BPC 157 targets, it's a communicator that it's not going to give you something that your body does not already have. But what happens is that either by an injury or as we age, just like anything else, they lose their efficacy. So we only want to bump them up a little bit more. So it will only do so much to take you where your body really should be with these peptides, to target even the mitochondria where everything starts from, and to kind of give us a little boost. And they really are remarkable.
Hmm. Wow. Okay. Now, there's for people who are not aware, there is still some regulation pending on peptides. So, can you kind of share your thoughts on that? Like, why is there regulation on it? Why is the regulation pending? And where do you kind of think it's going to go with that?
Oh, okay. That question, I have a lot of thoughts on that question. I'm trying to think of how to answer that only because it's very controversial. There are two schools of thought. There's a school of thought from the physician's aspect and from the government's aspect, saying everything needs to be under the umbrella of the FDA. Peptides, you know, unless they are the weight loss Ozempic, which is semaglutide, or then we have tirzepatide like Zepbound, and they're prescribed by the doctors and they're put out, of course, by the pharmaceutical companies. Every single thing is regulated. What happens is that on the flip side, not under the physician umbrella, there are a lot of peptides that are called for research purposes only. And that's where we get into all this BPC 157 and there are a lot of peptides out there. And without blood work, people are saying that really to know where your body is, you should get blood work before you move forward with getting peptides, and thus they should be only prescribed through a physician. However, people are saying, okay, we can order these peptides through companies in the United States. There are plenty of peptide companies in the United States, and you can order these peptides and ask for a COA just to see if they're pure peptides. And they'll always say for research purposes only. So these companies are not selling these to individuals to say they can be used on you. But we all know that if somebody's buying peptides from a company other than an FDA regulated company, they're going to 99% be using them on themselves.
Mm,
Now, there are certain peptides that I work with a company called Instamed, and actually, I have peptides that I've actually created a line of peptides, but they're topical peptides. That's perfectly fine. That's a different animal. Injectable peptides is specifically what is the controversial form that people are sticking things into their body that they don't know how their bodies are going to react. They're saying that the results are unbelievably amazing. And yes, I have seen unbelievably amazing results. but the government is saying, hey, wait a minute, we want to regulate all of these things, and we can make a lot of money doing this.
Mm.
And the other side is saying, peptides are very, very, very inexpensive to make in a powder form. So why can't we just do it our way?
Mm.
So, there's a lot of talk out there, and it's like the Wild West, honestly, right now.
Mm. So it kind of sounds a little bit almost like peptides seem to be quite safe to use, and a lot of people are starting to use them. It's just more of a
That's right.
political issue of why it's not
Extremely,
100%
ex
approved.
extremely. And so now the latest is the government is um, actually shutting down some of the US companies that are making these peptides.
Mm-hmm.
And so under that umbrella of the weight loss peptides, the injectables, we have semaglutide, which is the first. I'm going to say it was the very first one out there, Ozempic. That's the one that everybody hears about, Ozempic, Ozempic face, Ozempic body, that kind of thing. But then the second generation, tirzepatide, it affects two parts of the brain to shut down the food noise. So it's a little bit more powerful, I'm going to say. Now there's a third generation, and it's called retatrutide. You're going to start to hear about retatrutide everywhere. And it's a triple agonist that affects three parts of the brain, but the benefits of retatrutide, what the masses who are using retatrutide are saying from research companies, research purposes only, that the results, the clear thinking, more energy, their blood work is coming back better than ever. So the government is saying, no, 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 Eli Lilly, they're the ones who I think that they're about to, if they've not already, just FDA approved retatrutide. So that is going to be the biggest GLP yet. It's huge. But these research companies who already have them out there, they're struggling, saying, you know what? People are buying them left and right. The government wants to shut us down, but why can't we take our health into our own hands? And I'm, stuck in the middle with all of that, but every day I'm researching it and, keeping my finger on the pulse because peptides are the wave of the future. We're going to heal many more things with peptides than just with conventional medicines that we know now. So I'm extremely excited about peptides.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, because I think there's a lot of just mystery around them. So it was good to hear you kind of demystify that.
Yes.
Talking about other myths, would you say are some of the common myths or misconceptions you hear from your patients, from your clients about any of the treatments that you provide? Like, what are the most common ones you hear?
Let me try to think. Well, the plasma fibroblast, first of all, people come in and they're petrified about that.
Hmm.
They think I'm going to look like a burn victim and am I going to be everybody's worried about being disfigured.
Hmm.
They're just worried about being disfigured. And even laser hair removal, I will say, and I have a doctor, but I'm going to say people are nervous about that, understandably so, because, a lot of people, if it lasers in the wrong hands, they can get burns, end up with scarring from that if it's used on the wrong skin color. There's so many things that I'm always talking people off of the ledge saying, this is safe if it's in the right hands. Chemical peel is the same thing. If it's the right chemical peel used on the right skin type, it's great. But my number one favorite thing, and that I hear questions about every day, is microneedling because people think they can microneedle at home and get the same results as they can get in an office safely. And I disagree with that. So I am always telling people to bring in their little needle rollers that they get for $10 on Amazon. And I don't know what these needles, where they're from, what the actual needle is made of, if it's bent, if it doesn't go into their skin, at a certain straight angle, it can create scarring. And of course, everybody wants a better price. Everybody wants something for as, little money as possible. I totally get that. But we need to do things the right way to get the most effective and safe results.
Mm. Okay,
Yeah,
great,
it's a
great
huge
plan.
one.
Yeah. So now let's say that someone is looking to get some type of treatment done. Maybe they don't want to do it in their house and try and do it themselves. But they want to get something done. They don't know who to go to. what advice would you give this person as they do their search so that they can find that person that has the knowledge, has the experience, and can get them that great results we're looking for?
So, of course, I always look for reviews. I always look for reviews, and I interview people. I've interviewed people on the phone. I tell anybody who's looking, I offer free consultations because I want people to feel comfortable before they set foot into this office for a procedure. So I spend a chunk of my time with people, and I'll spend up to an hour with consults sometimes. So I will tell anybody, interview the practitioner, feel comfortable with the practitioner, look for before and after photos, ask to talk to patients, to ask their experience with the provider. And any provider who is really interested in helping a patient will be more than happy, I'm sure, to give their time and to give the information to the patient before any procedure.
Great advice. Now, Linda, since you've been in the industry for some time, I'm
Mhm.
curious, what role do you believe creativity plays in how you approach patient care? I think when people think about medicine, creativity is probably something that they don't want to have happen, but since it's more the aesthetic, wellness, and also medical side, I mean, what
Every day.
role does creativity play?
Every day. This is what really excites me because when people walk through the door and say they schedule microneedling, or say they don't schedule microneedling and they schedule dermaplaning or microdermabrasion, and they come in and I think, oh, I never talk anybody in, I never push anybody into anything. But as I'm working on them, I'm explaining the situation, and my brain is 10 steps ahead sometimes because I get all of these thoughts. Well, I can plasma fibroblast, I can do microneedling. So to me, creativity plays a gigantic part because we may start out doing one procedure and then we may end up doing a totally different procedure in the long run. That's why I love having my own practice because I space out appointments enough that I can be creative and come up with different concoctions if I want to. Sometimes I blend peels. Somebody might come in and they might think, I just want a little bit of a very light peel. And then when they say, well, I have this pigmentation, I have this or that, I might do a little bit of a stronger peel and take my plasma pen and go over a big age spot and try to just wipe it away with my pen a little bit. So it is like being an artist at the same time.
Hmm.
Super fun.
Okay. Now, also, I'm sure that throughout your experience, you've had some memorable cases or maybe even challenging cases. Is there maybe one story that comes to mind that you can share of just one of those cases that stands out and how you were ultimately able to get them a good result in the end?
So it's hard for me to not cry because I feel like it is me from where I've come from. Um, like I said, acne and acne scarring will always be the nearest and dearest to me because it is me. When somebody comes in, I always say, I am you, you are me, and I will stop at nothing to fix their skin. Um, there's a boy, a young man in his early 20s. And this is not unusual for somebody to walk through the door with their head down. That is very common in my practice because when people come here with acne scars, they are like me. I walked with a lot of my life. I walked with my head down. And when they come in, I understand. And this young man, he just, he said, I don't have any friends. I go to school and then I come home and I don't leave my bedroom because it's painful. He said, my family doesn't understand because they all have good skin. I understand that too. And he said, I don't want to be seen. I want to blend in like I don't even exist. And I hugged him and I said, you're me. I understand completely. And it took, I'm not going to say it was easy, and it was very painful. The treatments, the peels, the microneedling, the plasma fibroblast. And I'm going to say between a year and a half and 2 years, one day he walked in here with a huge smile on his face and he said, I have a date.
Mm.
And I almost cried because it was like a different human being than that first boy who walked in here. And it's such a psychological issue. It's such a psychological problem when you walk with your head down, when you don't want to be seen, when you just wish you were invisible and the world would forget you're even here. I understand that. And to see somebody go from that to coming with a huge smile saying, I have a date, I just thought, thank you, God. This is such a huge success to me. Now, he's not the only one, but he sticks out in my mind because when he came in with that huge smile with his head up saying he had a date, I just thought, if I never do anything else in my life, and this is the end all be all, and I'm never allowed to work on skin again, God forbid, I feel like I have helped somebody.
That's an incredible story.
Thank you. It's really good.
And I think this is the thing about the aesthetics industry, which really should be about this. It's about getting people's confidence back.
1,000,000%.
It's not about the vanity. It's not about trying to maximize the look. It's just getting people's confidence back.
That's right.
And I think the story is a perfect example of that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, Linda, where do you think the future of aesthetics is going?
Well, so right now, the future for me is I'm dealing with another major issue about over the past year and a half, no, about 2.5 years now. I started having very young girls come to my office. And this started with a mother who I work on. And I was working on her, and she said, what's the youngest child you've ever worked on? And I asked her what's going on. And her daughter, 8 years old, went to a birthday party, and her friend got products for her birthday, skincare products, 8 years old.
Mm.
And the girl wanted the same products. So this mother, a patient of mine, took her to the store and bought the products. And the little girl, the 8-year-old, ended up with burns on her face. And, they call this sort of thing Sephora Kids. It is not exclusive to Sephora, this problem. It's a trend where these kids on social media, and it is mostly TikTok, they watch influencers, beautiful teenage girls, early 20s, using these products. And of course, they're glamorous and beautiful. And the products in the bottles are bright color, bright orange, bright pink, bright yellow. And they look very appealing to young girls, and they want to use these products. And these products have ingredients that are very potentially very dangerous to young skin, very thin skin. And these kids don't have oils in their skin yet. Their skin isn't even developed. And I have seen many of them over the past years now where they come in with their heads down. And these little girls have skin that I want. So there's not a lot I can do for them. I do have a line of products that are very calming to the skin and help with redness and help with healing and bringing back the skin barrier. But I was grateful enough to meet this Senator Jessica Ramos in New York, who I explained to her, I really want to work on legislation to bring awareness, to bring education to the parents, to the children about ingredients that, maybe their children should not be using. So we're working on that right now. My bill has a number, so I'm extremely excited about that.
That's
And
awesome.
we have a sponsor. I met with an assemblywoman last week, and the bill is moving forward in New York. So I'm very grateful. But this is an ongoing issue in the entire country. So I would like to tackle this little by little by little. I'm starting with New York, and I like to go through the states where I'm licensed, but I really want to bring awareness to the entire country because this is a really big problem. So that's where that is going. The rest of the world of skincare, it is like the Wild West. I love that patients come in educated. It's great because I can have a conversation, where they know a lot. And I love that. It's exciting to me. But I can, broaden their horizons a little bit. But I just think that, the world of Korean skincare is out there, and it is absolutely amazing. I've been invited to Korea, so hopefully I can get there in the not so far future. But I feel like it's a global world, of skincare, and we're all coming together now, and we're feeding off of each other in different countries. I do work with Japan and different testing of devices and products, and we have a lot available to us now that we didn't even have available 10 or 15 years ago, even 5 years ago, with the peptides, with everything that's out there now. It's just, it's a really exciting world in skincare.
That's awesome. Well, it sounds like it's going to be a fun ride ahead.
Let's hope so. I don't plan on giving up anytime soon.
There you go. Okay. Well, Linda, I do have one last question for you, but before I ask it, I do want to point people to your website at theskinrejuvenator.com.
That's right.
Now, last question, Linda. What does beauty mean to you?
Beauty, well, I'm sure we all know it comes in all shapes and sizes and colors and sexes. That's the easy part. Imperfections can be beautiful. I think if we try beauty, comes from inside out. And I think a smile can be beautiful, warmth, compassion, being kind to people. To me, beauty is more encompassing. It's a holistic energy of an individual. And I just think that positive attitude is gigantic and grace. And this is the most important thing I'm going to share with you today. Grace, my mother was Grace. And I have to show you, I don't know, can you see my mom?
Yeah.
This is my mom, 103.
Wow.
She passed last April. This was my birthday last March. So she was 103. Her name is Grace. My mother, she was a natural beauty. She never actually realized how beautiful she was. But my mother, when I think of beautiful, excuse me, I automatically think of my mother, Grace, amazing Grace. She carried herself with class, pride. She always had a positive attitude and she aged beautifully. But at the end, she had macular degeneration and she really couldn't even see. But
Mm,
she kept a sense of humor every day. We listened to music. She laughed. She smiled every day. And she was so kind to everybody and compassionate till the bitter end. So that's beauty to me.
wow. Very well said. Very well said.
Thank you
Well,
so much.
yeah, well, there you have it, Linda, sharing your expertise. So, Linda, where can people contact you in your practice?
They can contact me at theskinrejuvenator.com. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me.
Awesome.
And I'm located in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and in Bluebell, Pennsylvania, the suburbs. Yes. And they can look me up and they can even email me, Linda at the Skin Rejuvenator or theskinrejuvenator.com. And I'm always happy to answer questions and share my knowledge.
Awesome. Well, Linda, this was amazing. Thank you for coming
Thank
on.
you
Thank you for
so
sharing your
much.
knowledge.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you, Daniel.
Thanks for listening to the Beauty Talk podcast. Any questions, please contact the practice directly with the contact information provided during the show. We'll see you again next time. Bye for now.